Disclaimer, this video discusses topics related to substance abuse and addiction, which may be sensitive for some viewers. It is intended for informational and educational purposes only. I do not promote or encourage anything in this video. I've also included various resources in the description below for getting help on handling addiction. When you have an addiction, you can either let it take control over you or find the strength to fight it. But what happens when that battle is lost and the addiction destroys your life? Well, we're gonna find out how an addiction affected these 5 YouTubers, starting with IRL streamer Aiden Ross, whose drug addiction not only cost him his health, but also lost him his mentor. On the 11th of April 2023, he would post a video titled Aiden Ross opens up about his opioid addiction.
I was on a binge drinking lean. If you guys don't know what that is, it's cough syrup. Do not do it.
But while cough syrup doesn't sound that dangerous, lean is actually made by mixing prescription strength cough syrup with soda and candy, and as Aiden quickly found out, it's very addictive.
You end up in this trap. At first, you're like, I'll never do that. And then you end up doing it. Then you realize that eventually you're addicted. And it takes you away and it steals you.
For Aiden, this addiction led to personality changes.
Arrogance started coming out of me, and I became a version of myself I wasn't familiar with, and people around me weren't.
And he stopped going to the gym, landing himself in hot water with his idol Andrew Tate.
I think you hold the record for making the most stupid life choice. I decided to stop going to the gym so I could focus on consuming liquid heroin.
Despite this confrontation, however, Aiden refused to take responsibility.
I was in jail and I wasn't taking drugs.
Hey, I blame you though, bro. You're my f***ing role model.
Turning even his own audience against him, with people writing, "I blame you, you are my role model," has to be the saddest and most pathetic excuse I've heard. And the hate didn't end there, as people said Aiden is a prime example of why people need a good father and a strong will that doesn't come rooted for money. Eventually, Aiden seemed to realize he was in the wrong, but even when he tried to get off the drug, the withdrawal was worse than anything he had ever been through before.
When I was off it, just fevers and sweats, and just became a really bad person, and stomach problems and constipation, just all sorts of crazy stuff, man.
Still, Aiden told his fans he was determined to quit, and it eventually started to seem like he would be able to get over his addiction after all.
I plan on getting right back in the gym, guys. I spoke to Tristan and Andrew. They told me straight up, you need to punish yourself, like ASAP. You need to punish yourself. Don't go to the gym Monday, go now. You gotta boss up, man, and you gotta really discipline yourself and really understand when an addiction happens and, make sure that you kill it.
He had a solid plan.
When you're on opioids, you crave nothing but sweets. I got all these sweets out of my system. Like, I'm just trying to sweat all this stuff out of my system, all these things trying to get out of me.
And even recruited his audience to help, asking his fans to keep him accountable if he slips up.
I'm giving you guys a video of me in the gym. You guys need a gym video like at least once every 2 weeks, so you know I'm still locked in, and I will. I'm gonna make sure that I'm locked in for you guys, man.
But while the plan worked and Aiden did manage to get clean,
I've been clean for about a week now. I was lucky to kill it quicker than others.
His sobriety did not last for long. Just a month later, on May 25th, 2023, Aiden streamed for one last time before disappearing for 60 whole days. And when he returned on July 23rd, his addiction was back in full swing.
I was sick with COVID-19, and I picked up a pint straight up, and I poured up. And I shouldn't have done that. I did that back-to-back days.
And this time, even Andrew Tate wasn't willing to help him, accusing the streamer of doing drugs for views.
Why is he back on lean? For views, I guess. He's back on lean so he has to talk about his stupid show.
But where Aiden's addiction cost him his relationship with his role model, BossmanJack's addiction nearly cost him his entire life. Once Twitch banned gambling in October of 2022, BossmanJack started streaming on Kick, where he would bet on online casinos. BossmanJack would lose thousands of dollars a day and react in increasingly violent ways to his losses, but he always came back to lose more.
Guarantee it. Yep, it's gone, dude. I lose it all every time, dude.
And while he had his moments of clarity,
man, why do I play these games when I know I'm gonna lose it all again?
it was clear he was hopelessly addicted.
Let's go! Let's go! Oh my god, guys! Oh my gosh, guys!
At one point, BossmanJack lost so badly, he began hitting himself in the head,
I fucking lost it all.
prompting Kick to ban him for a week for self-harm. But just a week later, he was back to his usual behavior on stake, although this time, he finally got lucky, winning tens of thousands of dollars.
Holy shit. Oh my god! Oh my god! That's the biggest dice win I've ever had in my life. Another one! Oh my god! Oh my god! It's the most I've ever won in my life! It's the most I've ever won in my life! It's the most I've ever won in my life! Oh my god, dude!
Combined with his drug addiction, this led to a devastating outcome on July 2nd, 2024, where BossmanJack was arrested for assault and battery of a family member and drugs possession. The leading theory is that he got into a fight with his dad, who he already had a rocky relationship with.
Yo, get the out of here! I'm streaming in front of 1,000 people! What is wrong with you? You want some attention, dude?
But regardless of what really happened, Austin is now sentenced to a 3-year suspended jail sentence with a 5-year probation. And now, a word from today's sponsor. Even when you're careful with your spending and avoid unnecessary shopping, there will always be times when you need to make a purchase. But the problem is that those moments don't always line up with discounts or sales. And that's where Cupid comes in, a free browser extension that automatically finds and applies the best coupon codes, helping you save money with zero extra effort. It works with all the major browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, and Opera, so it's accessible no matter what you use. With 6 million weekly active users on desktop, and 3 million on mobile, Cupid serves over 200,000 merchants globally. They also offer 3 core services, including automatic coupon testing, cashback rewards, and a price comparison service. Just install the extension, create an account, and shop as usual. Then when you're ready to check out, click the Cupid extension button, then click apply coupons, and watch it work its magic. On top of that, Cupid supports cashback from over 76,000 retailers including Temu, Macy's, Walmart, Sephora, and more. You can redeem the cashback via gift card, PayPal, or bank card. These small savings might not seem like much at first, but they can seriously add up over time. So join 6 million savvy shoppers by downloading Cupid and watch your savings grow. And now back to the video. Although BossmanJack's actions only affected himself, Shane Dawson's food addiction ruined not just his, but also his audience's lives. In February 2017, Shane would post a now deleted video opening up about his body dysmorphia.
I look in the mirror and I see a huge person. I see me in a fat suit, basically. And it's been like that ever since I lost weight when I was 18.
And while the YouTuber struggled with his weight since he was a child, losing weight actually made everything worse.
I was actually more depressed when I had lost the weight because it wasn't what I wanted. I wasn't happy with my body. I had, extra skin and created this thing in my head where I couldn't eat anything and I had to go to the gym 10 hours a day and I had to, I was obsessed with losing weight.
Out of options, Shane eventually decided to get surgery.
About a year after that, I saved up enough money to get the skin removal surgery, which is where they took 15 pounds of skin off of my body and I'll look like a normal person. Well, got the skin removed.
But this quickly became his biggest regret.
And I was left with a lot of scars. And I couldn't move for about a month and a half because if I moved, the doctor said my body could split open because of all the stitches and shit. So I gained like 25 pounds or something because I couldn't move.
However, where he was successful in reaching his ideal weight, his unhealthy relationship with food remained, and his channel revolved more and more around food challenge videos, and he started gaining the lost weight back. Despite Shane knowing his weight gain was becoming a big problem, however, he just couldn't quit his eating videos, which affected not just him, but also his audience, as seen in a Reddit post from 2021, where one user stated chewing something unhealthy and then spitting it out, because that's what Shane would do in his videos, and that my eating disorder always got worse in the days after I was watching him. And while Shane is down to a healthy weight now, how he got there has been far from healthy. But that's still an improvement over famously overweight YouTuber Boogie2988, who's a living embodiment of addiction. Back in 2012, Boogie would talk about his childhood and resulting food addiction for the first time.
My relationship with food is not right, and it's never going to be right. Was used as a reward and a punishment system. Whenever things were good, we ate food. We went and had food. We went to pizza at McDonald's. We went and had food. We went out and ordered food. Moss Paws, Frosty Bossy. I know you don't know what those phrases mean,
but that wasn't all.
One of the ways that I was abused is that my mother fed me wrong on purpose. She told me on my 25th birthday that she fed me wrong on purpose because she thought if I was large enough, big enough, I'd be too fat to ever meet a girl, I'd never leave the home.
This trauma stayed with Boogie for decades, resulting in him being diagnosed with 2 mental health disorders.
The first is PTSD. I have extreme anxiety several times a day. That's the second disorder. I have an obsessive compulsive eating disorder.
Instead of trying to control this addiction, however, Boogie began to lean into it.
I took that torturous tool and learned to use it the way an alcoholic will use alcohol or a drug addict will use their drugs.
Although he did eventually realize the problem with this,
And I rewarded myself and I denied myself, and I used that inappropriate relationship with food as a crutch to carry me to where I'm standing today.
Boogie kept losing the fight to his addiction. Boogie, you have everything going for you. Millions of subscribers, a new girlfriend, people who care and want you to succeed, and yet you choose to give up. At this point, the only thing holding you back is yourself. He continued the same behavior more than a decade later, now as an extremely unhealthy 50-year-old, and this time, he didn't even try to take responsibility for his actions.
Why are you still doing it? If we know we're killing ourselves and we're financially killing ourselves, why do you think you're still doing it?
I think I wouldn't weigh 400 pounds if I knew the answer to that question.
This compulsive eating then tied into Boogie's second addiction, spending above his means.
Well, here's everything. $2,758 in my bank account right now, and let's see if mortgages come out yet. So tomorrow, when they take mortgage out, I'll have about $700 to live off of until the 20th, when I get paid again from YouTube. So I'm just going to live off of $700.
But Boogie didn't just overspend on food.
I know I'm budgeting, but I immediately went to Amazon and bought a sound bar for $100.
The streamer also spent a lot of money on luxuries he didn't need, which included spending thousands of dollars on escorts.
I took women on vacations, and I took them out to fancy dinners, and I took them to like Disneyland and shit.
He bought me dinner, he got me a purse that we were talking about over messages, and he got me a couple gift cards, and he spent well over $5,000 on just that night.
Now, with the expensive medical problems caused by his food addiction, Boogie likely doesn't have long to live.
Do I think I'll make 60, which is 12 years away? Probably not.
In contrast, Mike Melac succeeded where Boogie never could. Mike would get his first taste of opioids when he was just 16 years old.
16 years old when I was given my first OxyContin in a hospital bed because I had broken my femur.
Barely a year later, he'd already passed the point of no return.
When I was 18 years old, I tried my first Oxy on the streets. It was right down the street from my high school. By the time I was a senior in high school, I was a full-blown addict, and I couldn't go to school.
Although even this wasn't his true lowest.
My rock bottom, my true rock bottom was in 2010, started a new drug, crack cocaine.
What made this worse was his grandfather's health at the time.
And unfortunately, that time coincided with another massive struggle in my mother's life, which was her starting to come to terms with the fact that her father was about to die. And she was like, hey, like, can you go watch after Pop-Pop? Like, all you have to do is these 3 things, like, every day. Just make sure he can leave the house himself, like fall down the stairs, like he shouldn't be doing these things. And everything inside of me wanted to be like, yeah, Mom, I could do that.
But that wasn't a promise Mike was able to keep.
I had started this new drug, and there was a day when my grandfather was in his recliner. He was downstairs. He was just screaming like, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. Like he was stuck in the chair. He couldn't get up, and he had to go to the bathroom, and he probably was like peeing and himself. And I was in the attic smoking crack, and I couldn't help my grandfather. That moment will never be erased from my mind.
Despite his regret, however, this wasn't enough to get Mike off drugs. Instead, he lost all hope of a better future.
There comes a point where you accept the fact that you're finished. It's over.
And even his own mother began to give up on him.
My mother had accepted that fact, that her son was going to die to this epidemic.
But once Mike was put on probation, something happened that completely changed the course of his life.
Yeah, and it wasn't until my probation officer told me, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., I need you to show up at SCRC clinic and start a detox program that will then basically lead into rehab.
Oh, wow.
Or you can come to probation and you will serve out your 5-year suspended sentence.
Initially, Mike argued back, but as his probation officer refused to budge, Mike finally had no choice and no excuses. This gave way to one of the toughest months of Mike's life.
5 days puking, shitting, getting off methadone, getting off heroin, getting off crack cocaine.
But it was all worth it in the end.
31 days after that, I was at Connecticut Valley Hospital rehab. I got out and I never used drugs again.
Still, Mike's struggles weren't over just yet.
Actually, I'm still negative because when I got clean and I walked out of rehab with a 400 credit score. No education, no car, nothing. I was 26 years old.
But what he did have was his determination.
And I started doing shit. And then one day, I see an ad on Craigslist for a company called Lovesack that sells beanbag chairs. Personal assistant needed. And it was like to grow my social media. It was like 2012. Nobody knew how to grow social media except me. Because I was an expert in the social media growth and branding world.
And as Mike kept trying different things, he finally got the big break he needed.
Hey, Mike, this is Sean from Lovesack. He's like, yeah, I got your resume. He's like, you seem to be an expert in branding and social media growth. I was like, that's right. He's like, what do you say you come in for a meeting next week in Stamford, Connecticut? And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll be there.
There was just one problem though, and it was that Mike had to come clean about his past.
And one day I told him, I said, hey, listen, man, I haven't been completely honest with you.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Not only that, but I'm also a felon, narcotics addict, dealer. I have a horrible past. I'm so sorry. I never told you.
But his boss gave him a chance anyway.
He said it to me day one. I don't know what it is, but like something about you, like there's something there. There's something there. Like you got it.
Yeah.
You know how to talk.
Yeah.
You know you got that spunk.
Yep.
He gave me a chance. That chance led to a text message between myself and the Logan Paul, who wanted some beanbag chairs for
This story is so weird,
for
Mike.
1600 Vine.
And now, Mike's the co-host of the Impulsive Podcast, inspiring others struggling with addiction with his book and speeches. If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably like these ones as well, and don't forget to subscribe.